Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peralta. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and today I want to give you a little holistic tidbit about emotional or stress eating. And so there's so many different ideas out there of what you could do, but I just want to give you one little starting point. Sometimes when I'm talking to people over the phone for consultations, you can definitely hear it in their voice and the way they're sounding, whether their speech is really fast or you can hear that stressfulness that they have of just the busyness of life that brings. And so I want to give you just a little bit of information to get you started and maybe an idea of what you can do. Okay, one thing that I tell my clients, initially it's the first thing I usually tell them, whether it's an emotional or stress eating that they are having trouble with, is to be present with the present, the here and now. Just stop and think about what you're thinking of. You know, whether you're working on a project or you're thinking about food itself. Think about what your thoughts are. Create a dialogue in your head of what's happening. Stop and just be more mindful of what you're thinking on at that moment. Because so many times during our day, our thoughts go so many different directions, especially, you know, if you're a busy person and you're working and or if you have kids or family or life events, if someone dies or, you know, family things happen and your brain's all over the place. I mean, you could be working at work and be thinking about a lot of different things. But if you focus on one task at a time, focus on thinking one thing, you can actually accomplish a lot more when you're a little bit more focused on that one thing. And so whenever it comes to food and you're eating because it's out of emotion or out of stress, is to stop and think during that time. Sometimes it's a creature of habit, like you're stressed and you go towards food because it can increase your hormones in your brain, those neuro receptors and responses. And so think about, you know, what you're doing, you know, be present with the eating itself. And that kind of creates a little bit of mindfulness of what you're doing. It doesn't just let a pattern happen because it's happened, but it helps to create a pause from a trigger to a response. And so that can help you, that pause when you stop and you think, whether it's beforehand, in the middle, or after, you can create a different direction for yourself. You know, whether or not you continue to eat or you decide to do something else, but it helps to start to create an awareness, which is a key component. If you eat out of emotion or out of stress or whatever other things that may come up that may cause you to eat when you're not really hungry. And so that would be my one tip that I would suggest, is to start being present with the current moment, with the present. And that way you can help to create a response from a trigger that something stressed you out or emotionally triggered you that happened that day. And then the response of eating. It helps to create a pause so that you can think about what you're doing and may or may not decide to change directions. And so that's kind of another step in the process. But first is to think about what's going on in that moment, about what you're doing. All right? So I hope that kind of gives you just a starting point. That's the idea. It's just to start creating more awareness of what you're doing within that moment. And so if you have further questions, I can definitely dive more deep into this, because it's definitely a huge, broad topic to kind of cover. But I just wanted to get you just to start thinking, so to speak. Start to think about what you're doing when you're doing it, and not just to let a habit, because when you're mindless, the body has no choice but to repeat the past. But if you're actually thinking about and trying to create a new habit, you have to be very mindful of what you're doing. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.